happened to watch a guy come up and try to sell the dealer a Bonds card. Now, I know this is supposed to be more of a private dealing, but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I want to see how this plays out. So they're talking. It was a really nice autographed card. The dealer pulls up all the comps, shows them, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800. It's basically the last 6 or 7 sales over the last 5 months, 4 months. And he's like, hey, this is exactly where it's valued at. I'm not going to really make any money. I just want it in my showcase. Like, they settled on $1,750 or $1,800, right around there. It's a card I actually really wanted. So I was hoping that the dealer wouldn't make a deal with them, and I was going to go find that guy and say, hey, I'll buy it off you. They struck a deal. I came back a couple hours later. It was in his case. So he paid about $1,750 to $1,800 for it. It was stickered, and that's market rate. I mean, he basically paid probably 95% on it. It was stickered at $3,500. And I was like, well, guess I'm not picking that one up this week. And I even asked him, I said, hey, is there any room on this? And what was his words is, oh, no, I bought in high on that. It's really tight, so I'm up at those numbers. In my head, I'm like, I know you didn't know this, but I was sitting there watching you negotiate this thing at $1,750.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Collectors Club AI. I'm Dave McCabe, along with Erik Sjolie.
Sjolie. I was hoping you were going to pronounce it right this time.
Had to do it. We just got back from the National, and actually, Erik got back from the National. You can see the t-shirt and everything. My family flew out, and we're doing a road trip in Upper Michigan here this week. We'll be back in a few days. Need a little break after all that was the National. I mean, it was 5 long days. I was exhausted every single night. Somehow it was all over. I'm like, wow, that went really fast. So yeah. I don't quite get it. But Erik, I know you had a tremendous time out there. You had some huge pickups, and you wanted to why don't you show off some of your stuff, because I'm in a Great Wolf Lodge here in the middle of Michigan. It's up to you. You got to carry the boats today.
Yeah, you don't have any show and tell? You don't have any show and tell? No, just kidding. Yeah, the National was fantastic. And I know we could talk a little bit more about this later, but I know there's a lot of complaints about dealer pricing at the National, and I'm here to say they're all 100% accurate and true, and I have some stories about it. But if you were diligent and patient, you would find dealers and you would find opportunities that were priced right or that made sense. Luckily for us, we were there for 5 days to have the time to find those deals. But yeah, in general, it was a very, very expensive. I think the Nationals, dealers were coming in at 130, 150% or even more than that at some time. But
plus.
Yeah, it was crazy.
It was nuts.
But yeah, it still was. I'm looking at the stack I got, as we joke about, I got completely carried away. I knew I was going to be a kid in the candy store there with no restraints, and it all played how we thought it would. So I'll start with a couple of goats that I got. So I know you love these. I was able to score a couple of Messis. So they're actually my first Messis that I own now. But, I've been on
for the biggest ones. I mean, what else?
Go on the goat trail.
You're good.
And now that you got me into soccer, all of a sudden, a month or two ago, I couldn't even tell you anything about soccer. And now I'm collecting soccer. My favorite player, as a fellow Norsk, I got some Erling Haaland. So I got the stained glass actually off your son I purchased. Okay. Then I got this beautiful gold auto that I just absolutely love. Just a few more pieces. Obviously, I picked up a decent amount of Barry Bonds stuff. I made a little video on that, but man, Barry Bonds is as hot as all the other goats right now. So for me personally, that's great to see. I then decided to venture on a whim. I just was a gut feeling, but I picked up a Batman rookie, including some V-Friend stuff as well. So I kind of went non-sports, but I got a Batman rookie. Always wanted one of these, even though I'm more of a Marvel guy. And then the one that I really was on my hit list and I would have called a successful show if I was able to acquire, actually happened with some communication I had before the show. So I know this happens a lot. Had some viewings set up, if you will, or some pre-discussions with other attendees on some cards, and was able to meet up and make a deal with one of the cards I've been chasing for many years. I finally got my Willie Mays 52 Topps rookie. So this one's a very, very clean copy. Awesome eye appeal. It actually has an eye appeal sticker on it. SGC 5.5. So really a mid-range 52 Topps of Willie Mays, but I think it presents incredible and super happy to have it. So yeah, got some other things, but those are obviously the bigger ones that I was able to acquire over the 5 days. My pocketbook felt it. And I'm eating top ramen this week, but well worth it, and I have zero regrets.
All right. Yeah, well, it's all incredibly liquid stuff right now, and I'm pretty sure that you'll be just fine.
Yeah, but
Let's
the
talk
problem
about the
is
dealer
liquid, but I don't sell. So liquid means
right,
nothing to me because I just buy and sell and keep stacking and accumulating. It's ridiculous. So
right,
on
right.
that topic, though, I would love your opinion because I know you walked around quite a bit. You
Yeah,
disappointed me with lack of purchases, but let's talk about pricing. I know a lot of content's coming out from a lot of people, and one of the biggest complaints that people are saying, and I've seen people say that it's not worth going to nationals anymore, is dealer pricing on cards. So I know there's always the rumor of the national bump, not only in pre-hype where cards get increased in value and sells on eBay and all that stuff. But then once you actually get to the show, the dealer sticker prices. What's your opinion or what did you see on that? Do you think that is accurate or do you think that's false? Where are you at on that, Dan?
well, yeah, I know you're giving me a hard time for my lack of purchases, but I bought a ball, a very nice, expensive baseball, which I will show off in the next episode when we record next week when I get back home. I don't want to unpack my stuff here,
It was a nice
but
ball.
yeah, right. But aside from that, when I was walking around looking at cards, there's kind of like two big factors that are going on at the National this time around. One, cards are kind of through the roof, especially the stuff that I like. I mean, a good example is that I think it's the 1991-92. I can never remember the year. The Jordan Beam Team card, right? Like I picked
Yep.
up that card in a 8.5 in March for $600. I know I got a good deal on it back then. It's routinely going for 2,200 to 2,500 now, so that's kind of crazy. But at the National, I
But
would see that
that's a
card
market
priced.
increase though, because Jordan stuff has
That
just
well,
gone crazy. So that's
right,
that's
right.
not a national bump. That's a just a
No, no, no,
increase
no.
in Jordan.
That's the increase in market prices. At
Yeah.
the National, I was seeing it listed for 3,500
Oh, okay. Yeah.
consistently,
Yeah.
and it kind of all the stuff I was looking at, the stuff that I like, the Jordan stuff. I mean, I'm big into a lot of Jordan, and then the vintage stuff. Everything was so overpriced, and I was just looking at it like, I'm gonna be in Dallas in a month, and I'm gonna be setting up there, and like I've got you got so many dollars you can use to buy cards and things like that. I mean, the way we were set up there, and as much fun as I was having, you were there, and we talked about this a little bit. I had both my boys there, and they were selling cards and they were doing things. They're having so much fun. I was very content doing stuff with them at the National. And when we set up in Dallas in a month, I imagine I'll do more purchasing and more flipping up there. But I didn't, I don't know. I just didn't see for the stuff that I was looking for and the stuff that I saw, the prices were just it didn't seem worth it. I've become desensitized to overpaying for cards. I know I'm going to be there in a month, and the people that were really making money at the National, I mean, are really the dealers. And I think part of their overpricing is that there's plenty of people walking up, paying whatever's on the sticker. I saw that happen plenty, so they're able to do it, but they're also just cleaning up purchasing, the dealers purchasing, I mean, at the shows. I mean, just lines and lines. I mean, a lot of the big influencers that I mean, they would have lines, 40, 50 people long, waiting to sell them cards. And you know darn well that they're like offering 70 to 80 cents on the dollar, and they just got those lines. They're just picking up, picking up, picking up, picking up, throwing them back in their cases at retail prices. People want to do deals or retail plus type prices. People just want to do deals with them, so they buy them. Or they're going to take them and offload them because, a lot of these bigger influencers, they've got networks that they can go sell this product to like that on the back end. They just need to get it picked up. So, yeah, my take was it was just all kind of, it was more of a show. I was having a lot of fun with my kids. Cam sold you a card, which was great. My oldest, my 17-year-old, he has spent all week now after the National on eBay, working on building up his own inventory. Both my kids at the end of the show got Zion cases, so thank you to Zion, but they hooked them up. And so they got Zion cases at the end of the show. Now they're filling it up, and Jax is looking at it like, all right, now how much value can I put in this case? And then I need to work on increasing that value and tracking that inventory. So, I mean, that was the stuff that I enjoyed. I mean, I think that's
Sure.
a lot of what Collectors Club AI is all about is set down our sign, making the hobby fun, but doing that, bringing it back to the fathers and sons, and that's what I was having a blast with for this particular one. And you're right, I didn't do a lot of purchasing, but I thought pricing was nuts.
Yeah, no, so I think that's 100% accurate, and it was funny. My first day, so I flew in, I landed Wednesday around 3 o'clock, dropped my bags off the hotel, shot over. I think I was in the National around 4:30. They closed at 8 on the first day. Super excited, super optimistic, and I was already reading reports as I was on the plane about pricing. And I'm like, oh, So I go in, I found, here's the two things that set the tone the first week that I think are pretty incredible. So, and these were personal experiences, so it's not even hearsay. One, I found a bonds table. A guy had a huge display of bond stuff, great stuff as well. And I was looking, I'm like, whoa, I mean, $1,200 cards were priced at $3,000. $600 cards were about $1,000, and I'm just like, whoa, is this normal? Maybe it's just because bonds is in demand. I happened to watch a guy come up and try to sell the dealer a bonds card. Now I know this is supposed to be more of a private dealing, but I'm just sitting there and I'm like, I want to see how this plays out. So they're talking. It was a really nice autographed card. The dealer pulls up all the comps, shows them, $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 is basically the last 6 or 7 sales over the last 4 months. And he's like, hey, this is exactly where it's valued at. I'm not going to really make any money. I just want it in my showcase. I think they settled on $1,750 or $1,800, right around there. It's a card I actually really wanted. So I was hoping that the dealer wouldn't make a deal with them, and I was going to go find that guy and say, hey, I'll buy it off you. They struck a deal. I came back a couple hours later. It was in his case. So he paid about $1,750 to $1,800 for it. It was stickered, and that's market rate. I mean, he basically paid probably 95% on it. It was stickered at $3,500. And I was like, well, guess I'm not picking that one up this week. And I even asked him, I said, hey, is there any room on this? And what was his words is, oh, no, I bought in high on that. It's really tight, so I'm up at those numbers. In my head, I'm like, I know you didn't know this, but I was sitting there watching you negotiate this thing at $1,750. All about people making money, totally understand that. So I'm not complaining on that. But is double over market rate accurate? The second one was dynasties. And this is, it's one of the influencers, something like that. I can't remember the gentleman's name. It was one of his tables. He had a few tables. It wasn't him, but he has a staff. And he has this one guy that I joke looked like Morgan Wallen, had that curly hair in the back and a little red mustache or whatever. And he had a Posey numbered to 10 or 20 dynasty card. The 5s and above go, $650 to $700. The 10 to 20s go for $450 to $525 routinely. And especially this one. This one actually had a very comparable comp in the low 500s. Listed at $650. I asked if there was room. And he looks at me and he goes, you can make an offer, like all optimistic. I'm like, oh, this is cool. So I even pulled up the thing. I said, hey, look, this is where this comps are going, 525, 530. I said, I'll come in at 550. So I was like, oh, I'll offer over market strong, but I didn't want to insult them because they had this high sticker at 650. So I asked him, not a single word, starts laughing at me, puts his hand over the card and just slides it back. And I'm like, is that a yes or no? And he just goes, absolutely not. And he just puts it back in the case and then literally starts to walk away. I said, well, excuse me, are you going to counter? And he goes, 648, 645? And I laugh and he goes, yeah, not your card. I'm like, okay, well, why would you even ask me to make an offer then, right? So it was just very smug, and needless to say, I stayed away from that table the rest of the time. It was just a really bad experience right off the bat for me. But other than that, it was, great. But yeah, you just got to be more patient at the National and find the deals. But I will say, and I think I told you this, was Sunday, the deals people were willing to negotiate substantially more, which makes sense. I mean, when you're early on the show, they want to see what they can get. Sunday, 20% of the dealers were already packed up and probably heading out of town and walking around, and you were able to negotiate. That's where I got all my bonds cards for the most part. But I was negotiating them down to at value, basically, and it was fairly easy. The multiple transactions I have were great. So, yes, valid gripe on the National. Pricing is high, but experience is phenomenal. But if you're patient, you can find the deals.
Yeah. It helped for me walking around with a 9-year-old because people just wanted to do deals with him, so that part made it a lot easier. People were generally a lot friendlier with him. I bought a handful of cards, just nothing.
You mean a 6'1", 200-pound bearded guy doesn't get deals? People don't want to do deals and be nice to that?
Yeah, they're not quite as giving. So, yeah. But yeah, it's everything there is kind of expensive. It just kind of is what it is. You're paying for the experience. I mean, you're paying to get in. You're paying for parking.
Yep.
You're paying for overpriced hotels near there. You're paying for everything around there. The experience, though, 100% worth it. I mean, just the ability to go in and talk to so many people in the community inside of the hobby. That part's worth it. I mean, because I believe that people are always striving for community, right? That's why they join country clubs, they go to their church, they
join collectors club.
They want to be around people that are like them and want to talk about the same things because it's fun, it's enjoyable. I mean, you and I are both passionate about cards. I mean, that's how we hit it off in the first place. Being in a situation in a big room like that where people just like talking about this stuff generally, aside from some of the older grumpy dealers that have been there for 30 years, a lot of people really love talking about it, and it was fun because they
great conversations. You're right.
Yeah. So, and having my boys there was a blast, and they were fortunate enough to be able to have a case at one of our partners' tables where we were talking about and showing off Collectors Club and doing some demos and things like that. So just watching them do stuff, do deals, it was very well worth it. I guess kind of pivoting to that a little bit, one of the things we want to do within Collectors Club, I've always been really big on the word club inside of things that I'm doing business-wise. We're fortunate now that we're able to work and I'm able to bring my software background that I have into the collectible space, something that I didn't even think about for years. Like we built softwares for other businesses, and somewhere in there, like bringing these two different things together, because I've been collecting since I was a kid, really heavy, probably since 2016. So like the last 10 years, I've been collecting really, really heavy. So the fact that I can bring these two things together is just, one, it's what better place to work. But ultimately, I'm big on the word club because it brings people together. And that's a big part of what we want to do inside of the app is we do have that community piece. We're going to be doing a lot more in there starting next week. While we were out at the National, I think, we signed up several hundred people into the app that got in. And when they get in on a free trial, they're in the community. They're able to communicate in there. They were part of all the giveaways that we were doing. And I did notice that some people are starting to load cards and start setting up their applications. We've got some really cool features where people can set up their storefronts. And I think that was probably the feature that people liked the most while we were out there, because Cam was kind of set up there and we were showing off Cam's site that was created, his storefront and things like that, and people saw how quickly and easily they could build their own site, tie it to their inventory, list on eBay, bring those cards to a show, sell it at a show, get it delisted from all the different spots. I think when we were doing those demos and things like that, once people got it, they got it. It was hard because you got a lot of people there that are at the National because they want to go look at cards and build their collections. So a lot of people, they didn't really want to talk to somebody about software, but the people that would actually stop and give us 1 to 3 minutes to listen about what it was that we built, we're all very impressed, generally signed up. And right now, people can still do it. They can go to collectorsclubai.com, sign up for a free trial, and we're kind of just going through a beta phase right now where we just really want feedback. And I think we're going to be going through this phase probably most of August. So we're just kind of letting people come in right now and use it. And then we're going to make the most ridiculous offers in the world for them once we go live here, live, post-beta, probably September, somewhere in there, that they'll be able to get just tremendous lifetime pricing as kind of a thank you for coming in and helping us tune this sucker in.
Yeah, early adopters get rewarded. Yeah, the storefront is phenomenal. That's what the conversations I had were fantastic with individuals. And, when you think of a majority of the hobby is weekend warriors, people that, do this as purely as a hobby, collecting their PCs and just want an avenue to move their collection around, make it more liquid, like you use that word, and continue to build up their inventory, their collection over time. And part of that is moving cards, right? Selling cards. And I know a lot of people, like myself in the past, just go, man, it's just too much work, and end up not selling anything, and it just accumulates. What I love about this is this makes it so much easier. And the confusion of all the technology and making it more like a business can be intimidating to most people. I completely understand. But what this does is simplifies it so much, like you were just saying. You could build a storefront, catalog your cards, get pricing, have your inventory, and be able to decide what gets pushed to eBay and what goes to storefronts, and just have this opportunity to move cards and create opportunities for yourself as far as building out your collection. And I think that's just one of the biggest things that was really catching on in discussions I had with people. Is just like, man, it's really that easy to get all this, and it brings it all into just one place. You're not pulling out 3 different apps, one for pricing, one for scanning, one for cataloging, then going to eBay and duplicating. This does all of it for you and allows you to have it all in one place and make decisions on how you want to transform and build out your collection. And I think that's so undervalued, but once people grasp that, like you were saying, that 1 to 3 minutes, it was just really eye-opening for them and got a lot of people excited to go in and start putting their collections in Collectors Club AI.
Yeah, it doesn't take long, but you got to play with it just a little bit. But I think that was the fun that my boys had while we were there, and what they kind of noticed, and something I had them pause and look at before they kind of wrapped up on Saturday, was they had pulled in some cash, which was great because they sold cards and got cash, which was good. And I know everything that they were selling, they're making plenty of money on as far as their margins. But then you look inside of their case, and their case went from a lot of $5, $10, $20 cards that they had listed, everything soccer, to now there was more and more like $100 to $200 cards sprinkled in because they were trading up and things like that. Like, so the overall value of the collection was going up while at the same time putting some money in their pocket. And I think that's what, what this industry really is. And it's hard for the people that never sit on the inside of the dealer table at a show to kind of grasp that's what it is. But it is what it is, and it's for you and I mean, we've always just been collectors. We always buy, but it's this buying and selling aspect. With a little bit of effort, you can spin up a pretty solid collection and get to some of those grail cards you might think are out of your reach. But it takes some effort, and you just got to start doing.
Well, it allows you the tools and and that extra element to have optionality within your collection and within the hobby. It gives you that opportunity, if you want, to move some of your collection more easily, to trade up or to purchase and reallocate funds, much like you were just speaking, as the market moves. I mean, as we see this every day, cards are going up, cards are going down, and allows you to kind of pivot at the speed of the market. So it's going to be a fantastic tool once people really start diving in and utilizing it.
You know what we should create for you, like a module we should create? Well, let's call it the gallery feature, where you can just post your cards for people to see that you don't want to sell anyways.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, look what I have, but not for sale.
Yes.
I got to grasp that part, as the letting go part. I'm a hoarder of sports cards, apparently. Once it's in my collection, it never leaves. Those pop counts, you can just remove my collection and lower pop counts because they're never going to be sold again, basically.
And I think that's the part of my mind that's shifted here as we've gotten more into this space here, especially the last 6 months, is that I've become very willing to move cards that are replaceable. Like, a lot of my vintage cards that are graded 4, 5, 6 or whatever, they're replaceable. I mean, there's millions of them out there. It's going to be really, really hard to get me to, get rid of my Yogi Berra Type 1 photo of the 1950 Bowman card, because there's only 18 of them in the pop count. So, that kind of stuff.
I'll add to that, though, because there might be, for instance, the Willie Mays, that was really my first big purchase at the National. So there might be an emotional connection to that exact card that, it's replaceable. You could find a mid-level 52 Topps Mays. But for me, it carries more importance that exact card, just because of the experience, right? I'm sure everyone has cards or collections and stuff like that. They remember exactly where they got it. That would be my only caveat to what you're saying. But other than that, absolutely agree with you.
Yeah, and we've all got those. I mean, I got my 86 Jordan I bought it in high school with my lunch money. I'd have a hard time getting rid of that one just to pick up a different 7 later. So I understand what you're saying completely. So anyways, with that being said, I've got 3 kids down at a water park right now, and we got to get moved on for our day. I know that you've got things going on.
Do we have time for for another really big topic? I mean, there's a few things I wanted to really talk about. So
if you got one more, go
20 minutes talking on the kids. Let's get rocking and rolling. But I don't know if you saw the breaking news. I think it was just announced yesterday. So one of the things that we saw was PSA, Beckett, SGC, CGC, they all had these huge, massive booths set up. And they had grading submission available on site. And they had different levels to pay. You could go, the more you pay, the quicker you got it back. So some had same-day turnaround times. Other ones had end-of-show turnaround times. So the prices would vary based off that and by the size of the card. One of the PSA's been getting kickback in the news since they shut down a few months ago, certain levels and all that stuff. And just, they're dealing with a lot. So this couldn't have been worse timing for them. But by the end of the first day, they already had so much backlog that stuff that was promised by the end of the show, they couldn't get to. So they ended up leaving the show with a huge amount of cards that now they're having to ship. I know they're trying to give credits to people. Beckett did the same thing. SGC was really backlogged. Well, the statistics came out, and I guess the very first day for PSA, just Wednesday, which is only a half a day, they had more submissions on just that Wednesday than they did all of last year's National completely. So it just shows, one, how much the demand for grading is insane right now. Even with the higher level, I think that PSA was a couple $100 to submit a card, I believe.
Well, it started at $80, and then they got rid of the $80 submission level after Thursday at 3 p.m., I believe.
Yeah, correct. So it just shot up.
And then it went to the $400 grading level, and I did see one of the, I forget his name, but one of the big influencers online, he had a big stack for customers that he was supposed to submit to PSA, and he didn't get it there until 5 p.m., not knowing that there's a 3 p.m. cutoff, and apparently there were some words being said, and he lost his dealer status with PSA and basically just went on a rampage.
Oh, wow.
And, went online on a rampage and just ties cut, never send to PSA again. I mean, PSA can handle some of that, I'm sure, but there is so much backlash right now.
They're so big.
I hope
They're
it,
so big, though. They're so big. I just think they have a chokehold. But here's the interesting part. So news came out yesterday that, so PSA a few months ago knocked off their lower levels because they have such a backlog. It's like 12 million cards right now. I don't know if you saw this, Dan, but just yesterday it was announced that Beckett now has removed their 2 value levels. So they had a $17.50. They had like a $39 level. So now their minimum one is like, I forget how they label it, but I think it's around $80 or so. Don't quote me on that. I could be off a little bit. But they removed, so they're doing the same playbook that PSA did by removing all the lower levels. Now, I know you and I caught some flack because we said PSA owns Beckett and SGC. So PSA specifically doesn't own them, but the mother company owns all 3 of them. So technically they're all the same. I know they say they operate independently, but at the higher level, decisions are made broadly for all 3 companies. So was this pre-planned to start taking out the lower levels of grading altogether now that Beckett is following the same playbook PSA is? Now, Beckett does say, I will say this caveat, they do say that it's only for backlog and they hope to reopen it, I think, in the middle to end of September. We will see, obviously. But this is big news. This is big news for people that, grading has become such an important part to assign value of cards. And 2 of the biggest players in the industry now are not only backlogged, but they are now removing the lower levels for the foreseeable future. We don't know how that's going to play out. But this is pretty big news and open to conversation on how this is going to affect the industry and where it's going to keep going. I know there's SGC still, CGC. I know some people are fanboys of Tag, but I know, they are so small, you never see their slabs. And I know they had a shutdown on the small amount they had. So I don't consider them to be a player yet whatsoever in the marketplace. I know that NBA is starting to do the grading. They were doing the stickers for a while, the Mike Baker, but they're starting to do the grading as well. I don't know if that'll catch on. I had time to meet with the CGC reps when we were there and spent some time talking with them. They are so slammed right now. But as you and I have discussed, CGC slabs just have not been accepted from a pricing standpoint in the marketplace yet. So I hope to see that change so we have more options. But right now it's obviously PSA is the big boy when it comes to assigned value, and then everyone else kind of falls in after that. So yeah, it's crazy to see the fallout after the National with what happened on site with the grading, but then Beckett's announcement yesterday, pretty big deal.
I was talking to my friend Ben, and Ben, one of the nights at the National, and he was telling me about it because he had a whole bunch of cards he had brought down for a client to take to PSA, and he didn't get them in, so he ended up taking them over to Beckett. But he brought up a really good point that there are people whose business model, these high-end collectors whose model is you bring it to the National for on-site grading, and you might have $500,000 to $1 million worth of cards, and you're getting them graded on-site, and with the intent of turning around and walking them over to Heritage or Golden or one of the big auction houses.
Yep.
So now what are they going to do? Because now all their cards are getting brought back to California for PSA to try to finish up and then getting shipped. Are they going to miss their auctions that they were planning on? That's a lot of the backlash. And I don't know, did you see the story? I don't know exactly what happened. I just happened to catch a blurb about it on X that the CEO of PSA was walking around the National and started getting, I don't want to say
harassed,
physically assaulted, but definitely harassed. And
no, they were harassed and people were chasing him. He had to get escorted out of there. Yeah, people were yelling at him and chasing him down.
Yeah,
I saw the videos.
So a lot of people that have, they make this their livelihood. And I think a lot of people, this hobby occasionally gets a little gambly sometimes. I don't know if that's a word, but we're going to use it. And they get overextended with cards, and they're sending them to PSA with these expected turnarounds of 4 months or whatever. And now they're realizing that they're not going to get them back for 9 months, and they just don't have the cash flow. That's when people get emotional, and I'm guessing that's what a lot of these situations are. You really got to have a lot of capital, and it gets tied up for a long period of time. If grading cards for resale is part of your strategy, you need to have the capital for those cards to sit there 6 to 9 months, because that's just the reality anywhere you go right now.
No, 100%. I always say when running businesses, and I've built and ran a number of businesses, is cash flow is oxygen to the business. It's that important to keep moving product and keep cash flow working for not only for reinvestment, for growth, all the above. And yeah, these dealers are having stuff tied up, much like you just said, now 6, 9, 12 months. It absolutely has that cash flow cycle extended and really getting choked out. And it just really puts them in a vulnerable position as a business, especially when they're doing this full time and this is all their capital. The second part is what you were talking about, gambling, the market speculation. So one of the biggest parts of the market segment is prospecting, right? Going after some of these rookies and all the above. But if you get, you pull some of the case hits on some of these rookies and you send it in, a whole season can be played before you get it back. So where a card that was trading at this, that quarterback all of a sudden gets benched, gets injured, doesn't perform well, why it was sitting there waiting for PSA to get graded, and you could have unloaded it raw at a very nice price. You get it back, I got a 9 or a 10, but it's worth 20% of what it was at submission. You have a couple of different things now that's working against you with this time commitment. So you've got to be very, very diligent and specific with what you're sending in and have a game plan for all of it, because that cash flow is so important.
Yeah, no, 100%. And it's going to change the model for how a lot of these people work until somebody's going to figure it out. At some point, they're going to figure out the scale. I mean, there's so much money in it. I mean, whether it's CGC or PSA, I mean, they need to figure out how to scale. How can they take on the more volume? I mean, but it's got to be possible. It's more people.
I think you're just going to see a lot of
people.
The hot rookies and all that. I think you're just going to see selling raw right now. I mean, I pulled some of those little national packs and stuff. Like, this is a pretty cool one. I pulled the Connor Griffin and all that. There's no way I can get this graded. So it's probably like, I'm not a Connor Griffin fan. So I'll probably just throw that up on eBay and let it run on a cycle and just sell it raw. I think that's what you're going to start seeing a lot more of.
Yeah, Jax was jealous of that card. I showed him your video, by the way. But you liked it. You could send it and get it graded now, and you might have it back for opening day.
Yeah, exactly. If there is an opening day next year,
right, there might not even be one.
Dodgers broke the system, and we're shutting it down.
Yeah, they did. Well, they just they just traded for another pitcher. Good for them. I mean, they needed
best pitcher in baseball. Just add it to the rotation.
Right. I think the guy they dropped from the rotation could be the best pitcher on any other team. So,
exactly.
All right.
Well, I know you got to get back to the family.
That one up. Yeah, it's take a couple more days here. I'll be back in 3 days, and we'll be back at it all next week. I'll be doing demos all next week for Collectors Club AI. So if you're watching this, hop on our website. We'll give a schedule of the different demos that I'm doing with the links to it. You can hop on to any of those. Get signed up for your free tier as well. Just get in there, poke around, check it out. We have a really cool feedback module in there, so you'll see it on the sidebar if you're on your computer. Click feedback. Tell us what you want to see. This is meant to be kind of community built in a way. We want to build what you want, and we want to make it as easy as possible and streamline it based on how you want to use it. So that's where that feedback tab is so important to us and ultimately for the product that we provide to you. So there's different places in there to report any issues, and just go in there, play around for free.
And Dan, with that, I think it's important to highlight, to get the free trial and get the free membership to sign up, you're not putting in any credit card information. Is that correct?
Correct. Yeah, to get the free trial, it's just
so that's a big one. Come in, you guys, sign up, create an account, get in and play around. We're not asking for credit card information. I know that's always, the free trial is great, but I know when we sign up for the free trial, I've seen these offers all the time at various things. You got to put the credit card information in. So what happens is you forget the free trial's up and you get hit and get billed for a month. That's not the case here. We're not collecting credit card information. Get in there, use it, see it, bill it, touch it, and break it. And we want it to be broken right now, so we want to make this the absolute best software and best experience for the hobby that's possible.
You brought up a good point, and I think I'm using my words incorrectly. When I say sign up for the free trial, you can sign up for a free trial for any level that we have. I think it's like a 10 or 14-day free trial, but sign up for the free tier. So sign up for the free tier, and what we're doing for people right now is that we see signups coming in. I've got somebody on the back end that's manually just upgrading you to the upper level, so you get more scans, more AI credits, and you'll be able to really get in there and mess around. And if you need to, feel free to just send us an email. You'll get an email when you register. Just reply back to that email or put in the feedback somewhere that you want us to upgrade you, and we'll just upgrade people for free for right now for you to play around with it, and then use it however you want to use it. And then a month from now, when we go to fully launch, we'll make you an offer, and you can either stay on the free tier if you want to with whatever you have loaded, or you can upgrade to one of the other levels. So we'll go with that. So all right,
we're not backing you in a corner. There's no bait and switch here at Collectors Club.
That's what we were telling people at the National. I'm like, we're not taking your credit card info, so we couldn't charge you if we wanted to. So people are just signing up kind of left and right for that, so they go in there and play around with it. So, all right, cool. Well, we'll be back at it next week, Eric. We'll get scheduled here to get another episode out. But until then, you got anything else? You good?
No, I'm good.
All right.
Well, do I have other things? Absolutely, but I know we're tight on time, so we'll split it into another episode in the future. There you
Yeah,
go.
same for next week. All right. Appreciate y'all. Talk to you soon. Thank you.
See ya.